Well, the story where Olav Tryggvason was born. Tryggve Olafsson was his father, and Astrid of Jären, a daughter of Erik Bjodaskalle, started with that Tryggve was led to an ambush by one of the Gunhild sons, son of Erik the Bloodaxe, one of his sons. They murdered Tryggve Olafsson, and Astrid had to flee. She took some company with her and fled north. They were on the way to her family estate. And along the way she felt that birth was near, so they came here to Astrid's cave, and Queen Astrid's island it's named also. In this cave she had her son, and this was during early summer. Because it was so light during the days and far into the evenings, they said they stayed in the cave, let the boy grow a little bit stronger, and she got also stronger herself. When autumn came and the nights were darker, they fled all the way up to her family estate. Eventually they reached the family estate, and they spent the winter there. Gunhild and Gunhild's sons were still looking, because they got hold of an actually heir to the throne, and they want to eliminate that, of course. So she had to flee more. She went on from Norway to Sweden. That's what the countries are nowadays. And had some stops during that time. Gunhild had sent some of her greatest sons, along also with 30 very skilled fighting men. Astrid and Olav were sent to Svitjod. They were looking for Håkon the Elder. They eventually reached Håkon the Elder and got to stay there for 2 years. Before Gunhild and Gunhild's sönerna all again had trace of them. So they set course for Gårdarike, where Sigurd, Astrid's brother, was working for the King Valdemar of Gårdarike, to seek refuge there. On the way over, some Estonian pirates captured Queen Astrid and Olav Tryggvason, and took them to the market and sold them as slaves.
Ja, det är bra.
Olav, now 3 years old, was sold as a slave. Reas was the name of the farmer who bought him, and they took quite good care of Olav and really enjoyed his company, his work ethics and all the things he could do. So he was their thrall for 6 years, and by chance Sigurd, Astrid's brother, was sent out by King Valdemar to collect taxes. When he came to Reas farm, he saw that this boy looked very western. So he asked for the name and his family, and Olav answered where he was from, who his mother and father and family were. And Sigurd thought that this guy cannot be a troll. So he negotiated with Reas and bought him and took him to Queen Alogia. Queen Alogia was King Valdemar's wife. She had her own castle, and but before he got with her to Queen, Olav then, he saw his foster father's killer on the market. So he, in a pure rage,
Yxa.
ran straight to him,
Och hugg en gång till bara för att om det går.
killed and cleaved his head with an axe. Of course, Sigurd was surprised by this event. Took him to the queen and told what had happened. But they did not know Olav's heritage yet, because back then a member of royalties could not be present in another kingdom without a proper introduction and invite. Queen Alogia, she did what he could to help Olav. She protected him, but the inhabitants, they wanted, of course, revenge for what was happened. But she managed to keep everyone at bay until King Valdemar came, and he wanted both to please the people and also to please his queen. So he sentenced a great fine for Olav's punishment. But of course, Queen Alogia paid those fines herself. He stayed with Queen Alogia for 9 years. Now he's 18. Olav was a grand, handsome and great fighter. He had both the looks, the skills, the strength, everything for a proper king, or a proper king to be. He also led some parts of King Valdemar's defense against other attackers. He won many battles, but a foreigner that had this kind of success, of course the people got envy and starting to spread rumors. Rumors about how Olav wanted more power and many stuff there. That's, yeah. Olav, he had to take his leave for everyone's safety, and he took his loyal man, a ship or some ships, and traveled to Borgundarholm. That's Bornholm nowadays. When they came there, they were not welcome, and there was a battle of which Olav, of course, won. His skills were starting to get really good by then. They looted many riches from Borgundarholm before they set sail for Vendland and King Burislav. Yeah, here at Lommelanda Kulle we have some rock carvings. A Petrus Kors is one of the findings here, and the legends from the area says that this is the cross that Olav Tryggvason and his monks came and carved. The story behind when Olav Tryggvason was here is that he, with some kind of battle, made the area Christian. It was a pagan center of worship here earlier in the years. And the meaning of carving this stone cross, the Petrus cross, was to bind paganism to the earth, so that it would the Christian forces could take over. Of course, it's a legend, but in the year, I think it was 996, it said that Olav came here and with a sword made the area Christian. But there are actually findings nearby of 30 or 40-ish human remains that could support that old legend. Quite fascinating story. Let's move on to some more stuff around here. Well, here we have a pot from the Ice Age, or I don't know what the name in English are actually.
But it's from the Ice Age.
Yeah, from when the ice was starting to melt and move away. Here we have the bigger pots. I really need to check what this is named in English. And one of them looks like an eye. Yeah. Almost 1 meter deep. Well, here we are at Lommelanda old Christian burial place. If I have read everything correctly about the facts from here, some of these stones are from the old church that was here before. And that church was dated from the 12th century and is said to be, had been a monument of Olav Tryggvason's visits here.
From 11th century. I found the data on this, on the 11th century.
Now we are standing in the stone ship at Blomsholm. It's dated around 400 to 1600 the year. The ship is Sweden's third largest. It is 41 meters long and around 9 meters wide. The center stones or the middle stones are around 1 meter, and the larger stones in the bow, and so they are around 4 meters high. Incredible large stone ship. It was also located so that when you came in by ship, the water was much higher back then. You could see this monument. It was placed to really be seen from the sea. We are at Blomsholm Stone Circle, or Domarring as it's named in Swedish. This is one of the largest in Sweden, and it's the largest on the whole Bohuslän. What makes this stone circle so special is that it has 10 stones, an even number. That is very rare because nearly all stone circles have odd numbers. So
Because of the voting,
yeah,
when you get judged.
yep. And there are also traces of other stone circles around in the area as well. But unfortunately, it's traces of them. There are no whole ones to look at. This was built around the same period as the 40-ish graves from the Iron Age around here. So a place with lots of history. We have another stone circle, also one with even number of stones. We count to 6 stones in this and plus the center stone. So odd that way. It was, as mentioned earlier, very rare with even number of stones.
Yes, if not, some of the stones were meant for rituals, but
Yeah.
that's just one idea.
Also, to be this, it sets its fragments of stone circles, so there can be 1 or 2 missing also. And other behind here we have the Kungshögen, King's burial place, King's pile. It has a hole in the center because somewhere very early 1900 someone built a gunpowder house for keeping the gunpowder dry at the top of the hill, and have buried, and no of the findings are taken care of. That's a real big shame. Tröndelag, and the old grave was Strömstad's largest and yeah, generally a very large one. It's about 45 meters in diameter and 6 meters high. In the area there are also 6 other graves. This one was excavated in 1928, a very long time ago, and the findings were among glass pearls. They thought a bone spoon, but compared with similar findings in Norway, in the area of Viking and Østfold, they found out that this was actually hair needles. So they got that really wrong back in 1928. Because of the findings, they believe this was a woman's grave, and to have a woman with this large grave, it should have been a woman with high standing, large, a very powerful woman. It's also placed on top of an already existing grave. This one is also quite old. The grave has been dated to around the year 500. So, yeah, old Iron Age grave. While we're talking about somewhat exciting graves here in Strömstad, we also have a Bear Woman's grave. It's located in Skee. They found it the year 2002, where they started searching for old findings. At the same time they built a new motorway, the new E6. And that grave was excavated all through in 2007. There they found it's named Björnkvinnans grav, or Bear Woman's grave, because of they found several bear claws among with some pottery and other stuff. And also they believed she had been swept in bear skin before she was cremated. Unfortunately, during the building of the new road, they tore the grave apart. So where that grave is now is where you can go on and off the highway. So that's a really big shame to desecrate an historical grave like that. I don't like it. Now we're going to show you Skie burial grounds from the Viking age. This is a large Viking burial place. It has approximately 40 graves. The big one is 40 diameter in diameter and quite damaged, unfortunately. Findings from here are, among others, 2 arrowheads, urns with ashes and glass pearls. I haven't seen them placed anywhere in a museum or even pictures of them. All that can be read. A bit disappointing. This place is also mentioned in Håkon Håkansson's saga in Heimskringla. And yeah, it's a very good proof that this was a place where Vikings lived. The name Skie is a couple of theories. It comes from skede, and in Old Norse that means horse race. So it's believed that there was an annual horse race here, where the winning stallion was sacrificed to Frey. One other theory is that instead of the annual horse race there was a stallion battle where the stallions fought over a mare, and the winner of those stallions was sacrificed to Frey. But another is a bit more interesting from the old sagas. Another theory, because this is mentioned in the Håkon Håkansson's saga, it's mentioned as Skeidhof in Old Norse, and that means Skades temple or rain. So who knows? Maybe Skade lived here, our goddess of skiing and hunting. That is fascinating, a bit intriguing tale. So, yeah, not easy to say if that's actually what happened, but the tale is, it tickles my mind. Among these all graves here, there are 40-ish graves. A couple of 100 meters from here, there are other graves. And it's a shame that when a museum got presented here, please check out these graves. They removed the graves. Because there are findings of glass pearls, pottery, urns with ashes and so on. So why remove them? Why don't let them build them back or anything, but please don't remove them. Skie church, it was built in the 1100s. At least the ground foundation and the early part of the church. They have placed it a little bit off the usual north, south, southeast. So the placing of it is also a bit unusual. Also, it has no clock tower that we have behind here, and built at least 500 years after the church was built. On the graveyard here, they have also found a rune stone. The name Kilfir. They don't know if that's a name or not. And Folke in nowadays Swedish. I don't remember straight up what the rune says, but it's a common name. And that stone they have given to some place in Stockholm. So it's not that anyone can go and see, because it's stored in a basement in Stockholm. Yeah, good job.
Skade is one of the old Nordic gods, Asa gods. And her father was Tjasse. He has a lot of different names, but Tjasse is the older one. And Tjasse, he was like an eagle flying around. So one day he was out flying and looking around, and he saw from the air Odin, Loki and Höner. They were feasting at some meat. And he really wanted that meat, so he took the best parts he could find, and Loki, he got really upset and tried to hit him with a pole. But when he hit him with the pole, then Tjasse, he grabbed with his claws Loki and just fly away. And Loki begged him to drop him down, but Tjasse, he really refused. And Loki came up with the idea, well, I can treat myself for Idun and Idun's all youth apples. And Tjasse, he said, okay, let's do that. So Loki went home and he convinced Idun to go back with him. Just a bit outside Asgard. And then when she gets outside, Tjasse takes her in the claw, and then she flies away with him. And the gods, they got really upset because they started to gain old. They were oldering so much faster without Idun's apples. So they got really upset at Loki. And Loki, he had to come up with one idea to bring Idun home. And of course, he got home Idun in the end. But Tjasse, he followed her. And, well, the other Asa gods were not that fond of this. So Odin and Thor, they started a war and hit him. And Tjasse died. His eyes, they threw up in the sky. Some say his eyes become the stars, and some, well, they think it's the beginning of moon and sun, but I don't think so. Skade, she always had this anger towards Loki after this. She went to the Asa gods and she wanted revenge for her father. She wanted Loki. Loki was the one she wanted. But Odin, he didn't want any fighting with the giants. So he just simply said, well, you can have a man to marry it instead. And she was like, okay, then I take Balder. But Odin said, no, you can't choose them in this way. You have to just choose from the feet. So they hid all of the gods, and she could just see the feet. And she was looking for the nicest feet she could get. Just because that one would be Balder's, don't you think? But it wasn't. It was Njord. and she was not happy with it. Njord, the god of the seas and everything, was not her thing. She was living in the mountains. But they started this marriage, and before they got divorced, they had some issues that they wanted to bring up. And I can't say that in Swedish, English right way. So I'm going to tell you. Njord, before the divorce. The mountains bore me. I was not there alone for that long. Only 9 nights. The howling of the wolves sounded too bad against the songs from the swans. Skade, she said instead. I could not sleep on the bed of the sea, for there screams of the birds wake me up every morning, the seagull. Skade then instead got married, not married, but she started this affair with Odin. And they got many children. She lived alone in the mountains, and she got one special child named Semming. And it's the start of the Ladejarls in Trondheim. And many of the Norwegian people knows about that family. And it was started and grounded, as they say, in the near year 900. But maybe they started long before that, because I don't think Odin and Skade got their first children in the year 900.
When Olav and his people got to Vendland and King Borislav's kingdom, he also had a daughter named Geira. Geira actually had some areas she ruled, her own castle and stuff, and got a hold of Olav Tryggvason's arrival and invited him and his men. They liked each other so much, grew quite fond of each other, fell in love, and then got married. So now Olav Tryggvason was married to a princess, or what do you say, a king's daughter in Vendland. She had her own problems with some villages that the people got disloyal. They stopped paying taxes, and Olav, as a good husband, he took the matter quite seriously. He went on with his men to these villages. By force, he killed very many of them. He burned the farms and some of the villages to the ground to make a grand example of how not to behave, and gained some stability in this part of Vendland. Then spring came. He was a bit restless and went on a Viking, first to Skåne, won many battles, got treasures of loot, and then they took the Viking on to Gotland. They fought a great merchant ship with even more riches to sack and spoil. Of course, he came then back to his beloved wife, and they had a quite good marriage. But after 3 years, Geira got sick and died. Olav thought he could not stay back in Wendland that time, so he took his men, his ships, and went on a real Viking campaign. He raided everywhere he came on the way, always the winning side. He went on to England, Northumbria, Scotland and Ireland, and none could match his prowess in battle. Of course, some losses, but on the whole, he only grew stronger and stronger. During his raid there, he eventually went back to England, and
people have a lot of problem finding the area of Strömstad in the history of the Vikings. They have tried everything, every word, but they didn't realize that all of Strömstad was actually in Ranrike. Ranrike was a really big landscape that had one king all the time. Ranrike was from Uddevalla, Tjörn, well, Olav Bohus actually, and really far in Norway.
yes.
Yes, almost to Oslo. And we are going to bring up a map about this. We have our own thoughts about the name Ranrike. There are stories about one king. We are not going to bring that up this time, because we are going to bring that up when we do the show about Ranrike. But we can tell you one story about Ranrike. One thought about Ranrike and how it got that name. And it's from the god Ran, but in the Icelandic word it's Ron, so it doesn't fit at all, but people want to believe whatever they want to believe. But we can tell you about Ran,
Yeah.
the goddess Ran, who was together with Egir, the giant Egir. He also has so many names. I'm not going to bring that all up. But Ran, she rules all of the sea, and she later on, till the 1900, they were still believing in the sea goddess, and it's all from the story of Ran. Ran has a net where she drags in all of the Vikings, women, pagans, heathens that were almost drowning, and they were feasting in her hall, underneath in the darkness, in the dark salts. Wait! Inte riktigt än! Inte riktigt än! Snart! Stopp! Praise the children! And she also gives this to Loki one time. I'm going to tell you about that too. But there is one saying that climb into Rane's bed is almost the same as drowning in Sweden. Now we come to this funny story that I don't know all the name of, so I'm going to read about it. And it's the dwarf Andre had a big treasure with golden stuff, and the golden ring andra var naut ring. When Odin and Hörner with Loki come to this place under forsen, Loki, he saw this beaver. What's the name? Beaver? Utter?
Otter?
Otter. He saw it by the lake, and he was thinking, oh, it's eating fish. I want to eat them both. So he killed the otter and took the fish and otter with him. When the nightfall come, they wanted somewhere to sleep. And they went to Reimdal. Reimdal recognized this otter and realized it was his son. He got really upset and he trapped them all inside his home. And it was first when they started to discuss with him what they could do to repair this. He wanted gold that filled all of the otter and more, even more than that. And he wanted as soon as possible. And they all agreed, of course, it was Loki was going to bring it back. So Loki, he went to Ran and he could borrow the net from her. And when he was walking, he just saw this dwarf, Andevare, in the forest. He trapped him and he said, you have to give me all of your gold. And Andevare, he agreed. So he gave the gold and he actually gave this ring to Loki too. And this ring is a special ring that you all recognize from the sagas of the Lord of the Rings. Because this ring brings unluck to everyone who has it on. But Loki didn't keep the ring. He went and got it to Reimdal and all of the gold and they were released. And it could have been a good story just there, but it doesn't end there because Reimdal, he has 2 sons. And his son, Regin, he was also the one who was making the broken gram together again for Sigurd
Fafnesbane?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's within another story too, and we also have Fafner. And Fafner is the other brother, and they didn't really like that Reimdal didn't want to share the gold. So Fafner, he killed his father in the sleep. And they were so upset about this. When Fafner then refused to share the gold, Regin searched for Sigurd to get help to kill his brother. But the problem is his brother, he's had a dragon put over the thrashes and over the ring. So they couldn't get it. And it's another story, but everyone who has been having this ring has got a really bad death. That's for sure. And everyone was turned against each other. That's one of the stories where Ran has a big importance because otherwise Loki couldn't capture this wolf. But that's just one thinking about the name Ran. But what we find is that Ran Rike has been through so many generations and there are so much stories. And we are going to bring that up in the next video on Ran Rike.
Yep, should be a really interesting video.
Yes, it should be.
Speaking of names,
Yes.
some believe that the word Viking
Yeah.
came from that the first people who went on Viking was from the realm Viking in Norway.
Yeah. Not just go Vikings, it actually has a name.
Yeah.
So if you start to look into history, it's not just all what others say. You have to
No.
really search in history because misunderstanding in the Vikings.
Also in translations, just a
Yes.
single word
Yes.
can.
Like ran.
Yeah.
Rån in Sweden is something we eat. It's like a really hard sandwich.
Yeah, and also robbery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. So
So-
it doesn't fit at all.
No.
And it's with many different names. It's wrong. They don't understand the meaning of higher up either, what that means actually. Because they want it to be something that it's really not. So don't judge the name Viking.
No. We didn't live back then. We have no person who have actually been there to tell the whole story.
Yeah.
And the writings are from later on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we might find the rune stones in the future, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet my money on that.
Do you want to tell something about how we feel about this Strömstad and how they have handled it with our neighbor?
Yeah, when I look
You can sit there if you want to.
when I look at how many well-preserved findings there are along Sweden, and how the Norwegians have preserved their history with the Vikings, and we see on the west coast in Sweden and Strömstad especially. I felt at the beginning we don't have any history back in my place. It was hard to find. Maybe it's because of the names and all that. But the more we searched, the more we found. And yeah, we have found some things. Great things. But it also makes me sad that we don't take better care of our heritage. It is so much that can be said. The places could be so much better preserved, and I feel appalled when a museum actually removes graves because there are so many others. Or when they find out that they want to build a highway above a grave that actually could tell us so much about our history. Yeah.